Meaning of short story. Narrative text is a story with complication or problematic events, and it tries to find the resolution to solve the problems. One of narrative texts is a short story. A short story is a short work of fiction. Fiction, as you know, is prose writing about imagined events and characters. A short story is a fictional prose composition. It can usually be read in one sitting and it can be any length. According to Collins' dictionary, a short story is a prose narrative of shorter length than the novel, especially one that concentrates on a single theme. In conclusion, the definition of short story is a piece of fiction that has a limited number of words, only a few characters and one theme. The short story is one of the oldest types of literature, and it has existed in many forms, including myths, fairy tales, ballads, and fables. The modern short story, in an approved form, originated in the first quarter of the 19th century, first in the United States of America. Before the short story came into existence, different genres of literature had been popular in different periods. The short story took a long time to reach its modern form. It was very influenced by the novel because it is a miniature form of that art of prose fiction. Unlike a novel, which might be read over several days or weeks, a short story is usually read in one burst. A novel can tackle multiple plots and themes with a variety of prominent characters. This makes a more condensed text and one needing closer reading.
Social production of short story. A. To amuse or entertain the readers with a story. B. To teach a moral lesson through a story. C. To profit money literary experience through reading epic artistic genres. D. To profit a part to understand human experience and bring in rich insight to oneself and to others who have a special contribution of art to civilization.
Structure of short story. Short story belong to narrative text, so they have similar structure as the following. 1. Orientation. It introduces the characters, setting, and the situation. It is the background information. 2. Rising action. This includes the event leading up to the main problem or conflict. 3. Climax. This is when the problem reaches a high point, the story reaches a crucial moment, the tension that is building reaches a peak. 4. Falling action. This is when the characters work to solve the problem or conflict. It is sometimes called the document. This part of the story explores the consequence of the climax. The tension in the story begins to ease. 5. Resolution. This is how things end up in the story. The story's central problem is finally solved, leaving the reader with a sense of completion.
4. Characteristics of short story. A. It can be read in one sitting. Edgar Allan Poe, in his essay The Philosophy of Composition, said that a short story should be read in one sitting, anywhere from a half hour to 2 hours. In contemporary fiction, a short story can range from 1,000 to 20,000 words. B. It contains little or no dialogue, but it may also be made up of dialogue while the description is brief. C. A modern short story describes all kinds of problems. Some short stories end by explaining what has been going on, possibly in a surprising way. Others end by leaving the reader asking questions, sometimes in a disturbing way. A successful ending leaves the reader wanting to know more, but having to read the story again to make sure they have not missed anything the first time. D. It has a single setting and one central theme. The story has to keep the reader focused throughout in case they miss something. E. It has one main character with a few additional minor characters. The writer has to establish character and setting very quickly to allow the development of the short story. F. It doesn't have so many complications in the plot. Because of the shorter length, a short story usually focuses on one plot.
3 elements of short story. There are some elements of short story. A. Characters. Character of divided into two. There are A. 1. Character. There are individuals that the story is about, of the person in the story. 2. Characters are the characteristic of a person. B. Setting. Setting is the theme and location in which a story takes place. C. Plot. The plot is how the author arranges events to develop his basic idea. It is the sequence of events in a story or play. The plot is a planned logical series of events having a beginning, middle, and end. The story usually has one plot, so it can be read in one sitting.
The Farmer and the Well. One day, a farmer was looking for a water source for his farm, when he bought a well from his neighbor. The neighbor, however, was cunning. The next day, as the farmer came to draw water from his well, the neighbor refused to let him take any water. When the farmer asked why, the neighbor replied, "I showed you the well, not the water," and walked away. Distraught, the farmer went to emperor to ask for justice. He explained what had happened. The emperor called on Birbal, one of his 9 and wisest courtiers. Birbal proceeded to question the neighbor. "Why don't you let the farmer take water from the well? You did sell the well to the farmer." The neighbor replied, "Birbal, I did sell the well to the farmer, but not the water within it. He has no right to draw water from the well." Birbal said, "Look, since you shut the well, you have no right to keep the water in farmer's well. Either you pay rent to the farmer or take it out immediately." Realizing his scheme had failed, the neighbor apologized and went home.